There's me. Am I all by myself? Oh my goodness. Where is Joe? Joe, where are you? Here, let me text him. Where are you? All right, here we go. All by myself. Let's see who's with me. There we go. Basil's here. Anna Marie is here. I'm always late, Basil. This is my third show of the day. Give me a break, man. Give me a break, man. We're just waiting for the guest of honor to arrive. He must be winded from his tirade on the Batman. Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? It's the third show of three. We kicked off the day at 1 p.m. doing our art print claim sale, and then we did our roundtable, which we just finished. If you missed it, we talked about the Batman. We talked about comic books and reading them, and where's my list? Peacemaker, and we briefly got to talk about the Obi-Wan Kenobi. My number one bullet I had was the Ben Kenobi trailer, and yeah, we shoehorned it in with 3 minutes left. Anyways, we're just waiting for the guest of honor to arrive. But once he gets here, is there any? Did I hear him? Is there somebody? Is there somebody at the door? Let's see. Let's see if he's texting me. Eric, where's our guest of honor? We seem to be a guest of honor short. Don't make me have to whip out a pencil. It could be a very quick hour. All right, ladies and gentlemen, je suis here. Basil is here. Anna Marie is here, like we said. Oh, there we go.
I'm sorry. I was delayed in traffic.
You were delayed in traffic from the diner?
Right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, he is here. It is Wolverine, Infinity Gauntlet artist, Marvel Universe.
Everything else.
Such little time.
Else.
Yeah, we only have an hour, so we won't go through the whole thing.
Legendary. I didn't run away.
Yeah. All right. So this is the spotlight this week. We are featuring on Uncle Joe. Relations unbeknownst to us, and a hand floating behind you.
I asked for a hand.
Ah, there you go.
Okay. Boy, I hope that vaudeville's dead because I want to kill it if it's not.
Okay. All right. So Uncle Joe, what this is about is we asked the people, the good people, to give us some suggestions for you to draw. Then you draw, and we auctioned it off. We started at $40.
I would just like to preface this with saying, I like the Hulk because he's naked, the Silver Surfer, Wolverine. I don't like War Machine, Iron Man, Galactus, or anybody like that.
Okay. Transformers. Let's get a Transformers.
Yeah. My Little Pony.
All right. Let's get some suggestions out there. Who's got some suggestions for Joe? Usually Basil's whipping them out left, right, and center. We're looking for suggestions, and as per usual, we'll start off at $40 and see where we go. I think the record right now is Bob had it up to 60 something. So
70.
All right, so we're gonna try to push for 70. Basil goes right to Predator. Predator, the first.
Yeah, no, Basil, you don't have enough money to get me to draw Predator.
Try again, Basil. Take two. And while we're deciding what we're going to draw, we're going to have Joe's catalog floating up in the upper left-hand corner. As per usual, guys, I don't have my... Oh, there's my cheat sheet. Here's my cheat sheet. There's my cheat sheet. So let's walk through it. As they're going around, you guys can claim any one of these Joe Rubinstein fine products. We're going to take $5 off if you want fine art, $10 off if you want platinum, so that'd be $25 and $50. Canvases, 99 is now 89. 14 by 28 is 175. 27 by 40 is 299. And if you want to go crazy, we're taking $100 off the bus stops.
The Conan piece is from a little-known novel by Conan by Robert E. Howard called Conan in the Land of the Big-Butted Babes. It wasn't the hit it deserved to be. But I'm sure they're going to make a movie from it.
You know, it's the one thing everybody says when they see that Conan piece.
No.
They always go, "Where's his thumb going?"
Do they? I didn't know that. Okay. Where would you want it to go? It's a piece of art. There's room for interpretation. No, I'm not doing Boba Fett. I'm not doing armor.
We're doing young Kenobi. We got young Kenobi.
I have to find reference of it. I'd rather not do a portrait. They're hard.
Conan. Basil says Conan.
I can do Conan.
All right, Basil, if you want Conan, start it off $40. There you go. All right, Basil, if you want Conan, kick it off with $40, and we're gonna get rolling. And as per usual, everybody, we asked the artist, Joe, what is a typical bust rate if they see you at, say, Toronto?
Head and Shoulders is $100 US.
So, guys, you are starting way under the money. We are 60 below. We're gonna kick off at $40. So the first person to give us a suggestion that is accepted and a $40 bid gets the player. Right now we got Basil with Conan. Basil, you want Conan? Throw down the $40. Look, there's Conan right there. So we're looking for any more suggestions or a $40 kickoff, and then we're gonna get going. I'm the only one giving suggestions. Basil, that is true. You are the only one. Anna Marie, how about you? Do you have any suggestions? Oh, Mikhail Rosado says Gauntlet Hand.
Gauntlet Hand. I can do Gauntlet Hands. I have done Gauntlet Hands. Yeah.
Mikhail, what would you want the Gauntlet Hand attached to? Well, Basil, you're not alone now. We got Mikhail. Mikhail threw up Gauntlet Hands. Driving hell. Anna Marie, we're looking for suggestions, not what you're doing. All right, guys, let's go. We need some suggestions right now. Conan is on the board. We've got a gauntlet. I guess the gauntlet would be attached to Thanos then, right? So we got Conan and we got Gauntlet Hand. I'm assuming that's with Thanos. So the first one to put a $40 kickstart, we get rolling. We got Conan and we've got Thanos with the Gauntlet. Here we go. So it would be let me ask my son a minute, please. It would be the fist only in space. That's
how they like it, just isolated.
Oh, really? Just the fist?
Yeah.
Okay.
But if they want Thanos holding his fist up, that's a whole other drawing. So, you know.
Right. Okay, so we're still waiting. Any more suggestions? Mondo.
Who's Mondo?
The Mandalorian.
Oh, yeah. So how long has your son been a problem?
All right, Thanos. All right, for Mikhail, you start us off. So here we go. We got a race. Basil and Mikhail. First one to give. We got Thanos. We got Conan. So first one to put in a bid of $40 gets the kickoff, and let's get rolling. We're still working for an invisible.
The lighting.
We've got Thanos. We've got the Gauntlet, and we've got Conan. All right, so we got Basil and Mikhail going back and forth. So we're looking for a $40 bid, and then that's going to be the path we go. Mikhail says 40. There you go. Mikhail Rosado says 40. So looks like we're doing Thanos. Already have Joe's Thanos. All right,
you can't have too many Thanos. What are you thinking?
Yeah.
You can have a happy Thanos. You can have a sad Thanos. You can have a not so sure Thanos. Yeah.
All right, so Mikhail has a $40 bid if you want to do Thanos holding the gauntlet, I guess. Let's get clarification. Mikhail, you want Thanos with the gauntlet? That's the 40?
Oh, that would run like $150 at a convention.
Oh, would it? Whoa.
Yeah. Not to say I want to draw it. I just want to give you a perspective. So.
All right. Well, you decide. Well, let's say, Mikhail, do you want the gauntlet by itself or do you want a Thanos? Come on. You've got 40 up. Yes, please.
He has to ask his son.
Okay, but which, Mikhail, we need to know Thanos or the Gauntlet? Yes, please.
Okay. How about I draw Thanos?
All right, do the Thanos. Here we go.
Okay.
We got
Now, you want this filmed? Somebody over my shoulder looking at me draw Thanos?
I think that's we'd like to watch you draw if that's okay.
Okay, that's sort of the whole point of this thing, isn't it? Okay. All righty. I guess that's what I'll do.
We
Okay,
want to
and
see how the hot dog's made.
The what's made?
We want to see how the hot dog's made.
Oh, you're gonna use that? All right.
Yeah, just use that. That's fine.
Can you see what you see?
I cannot see it. Oh, yes, I can because I have it over here.
Can you see what I... There we go. That's a good shot of paper. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there we go. Mikhail has a kickoff of $40 of Thanos. We're looking for 41 or better. Last week, Bob McLeod did Wolverine. The week before, Jamie Coker did a Gremlin. And the week before that, Francine did 2.
Because she's
John Hebert did Daredevil.
Are you able to see what I'm doing?
Yep.
Okay. So for all you would-be artists, and why would you want to be an artist? Everything starts with a circle. Everything, at least with me. Other people, everybody's very idiosyncratic. It's like you never know what little quirk one artist has compared to another, but it always starts with a circle. And because I'm an inker, I just have no patience to pencil it out with detail. I just give it a start, and then I find it all. And certainly some of my favorite artists, like Joe Kubert, he would have not give himself finished pencils either. He discovered the drawing as it went along, which makes it a lot more interesting. Where Jim Steranko once said that the reason he didn't ink his own books is because it felt like he was doing it twice. And I understand that.
Cool. So we've got a $40 bid with Mikhail on the Thanos. So we're looking for 41 or better. If anybody wants to jump in, we are watching Wolverine and Infinity artist Joe Rubinstein do a bust of Thanos. So we're at $40 with Mikhail. So when are you coming into Toronto, Joe?
When am I coming into Toronto? I guess the night before.
Thursday.
Thursday? Okay, cool.
Of next week, not this week.
Very cool. So I know we talked about it a million times, Joe. When you started with Neil Adams, was that his own studio or was that a part of Marvel?
No, it had nothing to do with Marvel. Neil and Dick Giordano decided that they wanted to open up an advertising studio, as well as, I suppose, custom comic books that would make an awful lot more money than the money that they were being paid by the comic book companies. So they started a studio called Continuity Associates, and it was really just 3 rooms rented from another studio. And the other studio, there's this thing called animatics. I'm sure they still exist on some level, where the artist draws not storyboards, but something more complete, more elaborate. And then they take those things and they animate them so that they can show the client and or the art director what the commercial would look like before they go to all the expense of hiring actors and, camera people, I guess. And so Neil and Dick had a studio of 3 rooms, and they would get the jobs. And one of the rooms was the library, where I spent a lot of my time hiding from the clients because they didn't want this kid hanging out because I was only 13 at the time. And then eventually the studio expanded and they took over the whole floor. And by the time I was 15, I was not just the errand boy anymore making coffee and sweeping up, but I was Neil and Dick's art assistant. And then as they started to rent space out to people like Wally Wood and Russ Heath, I started to work with those people. So that's what I was doing when I started at age 13.
So how long were you there before, and then after that, is that when you transitioned over to Marvel, or?
Well, I was there. See, my first time was there was the summer. And then when school came around, I was allowed to come back during after school and weekends. And I was there in one capacity or another till the age of 17. And then when I was 17, I got my first, actually, I got 3 jobs the first day I went looking. One for DC and one for a friend of mine who just needed me to ink his stuff for, I think, Charlton, somebody like that. And that's where I worked until I was 17. And then I was at a studio. I was at a party, and Jim Starlin was there, who I barely knew, but I guess he knew my work because he walked up to me and asked me if I wanted to ink this Avengers annual he was doing. And I was more than thrilled to do that because besides doing the work, I knew that I would be able to get to artists I really wanted to get to, work with, like John Buscema and Gene Colan and all those guys. And to my delight, I found out that it wasn't just one annual, but it was 2 annuals. Avengers number 7 and Marvel Team Up? No, Marvel 2 and 1. And all those became sort of the basis for the Avengers movie with Thanos, Endgame. Because that was really the first time he fought the Avengers, not Infinity Gauntlet. And from there, I was fortunate enough to get my career going at Marvel, which I stayed pretty much employed at for the next 24 years in one capacity or another, with occasionally going back to work for, like I worked on Superman for 7 years, so I would bounce back.
Sorry, my audio cut out for a second there, but that's pretty cool. So essentially, a majority of your time.
Still there, Steven?
Yeah,
Did I
I'm
hit
here.
a button?
I'm back.
Hold on, we can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Whoops.
So, ladies and gentlemen, while we figure this out,
it was all Lisa's fault. Don't worry about it.
It's all good.
How much of that did you hear?
I heard. I was right up to the point where he talked about Basil's cracking up. Right up to the point where he said you spent the next 26 years at Marvel, with the odd time stepping out to do a run.
It was like 24 years, and then I was on Superman for 7 years, but I also had an exclusive contract with Marvel for 7 years. So depending upon whatever job interested me at the time, I was lucky because it was really a buyer's market. Everybody was looking for somebody to work on their books, so I always had something to do. And as far as the sketch goes, unlike a lot of stuff I see at conventions, I don't do it in marker. I do it just like this with brush because I want it to make it as professional and finished and printable as I can get it.
Well, not only is it professional and printable, ladies and gentlemen, we're at $40 with Mikhail, which is way under the money. If you ask for this at any show, you're looking at $1.25 easy. That's $1.25, and I'm not talking Canadian or peso. We're talking about USD.
Or God forbid, rubles.
Rubles. Oh, yeah, there you go. You really want to see the devalued dollar. Let's go with rubles. But let's see. Does anybody else want to jump in on this? Right now, we got Mikhail at 40. We're looking for 41 or better. Basil, come on. Look at this. This is an original. This is beautiful work. And while we're doing that, we've got Joe Rubinstein's catalog rotating over here. As we said, we're also going to carry through today. Like we said, if you claim 2 Joe Rubinstein art prints, you'll get a mystery third for free. So all you got to do is say claim Wolverine, claim Degas, and we'll give you the third one for free. Oh, look at this. There you go. Basil went 41 and Mikhail went 50. So Mikhail really wants this one, but we're going to encourage.
I can get that operation now. Thank you.
Still way under the money. We got Mikhail with a comeback of 50. Let me know, Basil, if you want to go 51 or better. Look at this. It's going good. Would you say that Thanos is probably the most popular character that you get asked to draw?
Well, him and Wolverine for sure. Yeah, I think someday I'll have to keep track of who wants what. But I think Wolverine's probably in the lead. But, maybe it's also because he's a good guy compared to Thanos, but still.
Well, and Thanos didn't come into popularity until recently, right?
Yeah, well, when I did the the comic book that I was just referring to, it was reprinted literally 15 times over the next 30 years. I mean, every 2 years there was some new form of it. So I thought, well, it's a good story, and it's interesting that everybody keeps putting it into some new reprint or another. And then when I went to see the Avengers movie, and they all dispersed at the end, and I thought, well, gee, who could get them back together again? And I thought, well, maybe Thanos. And then to my surprise, he turns around and looks at us. And I thought, gee, I'm good, And I had no idea that he was going to be like the thread throughout all of Marvel movies for the next 15 years, one way or another.
That's an interesting question to ask Kevin Feige. Is like, at what point when he started, maybe he had it before he started Iron Man. At what point did he have the vision that if I'm able to do this, this, and this, we're going to all tie it together with Thanos?
I would think early on, because I'm so impressed by how well all the Marvel projects interweave with each other, even to the point of just having a poster on somebody's wall. Or I was watching the Jessica Jones series recently, and at one point, Foggy Nelson walks in to do a scene. And so they obviously knew that a Daredevil was coming up, and this was the guy, and we want to introduce him to that universe. So I think they pay real attention to an interweaving of all the reality to make it a cohesive world that everybody lives in.
Right. And ladies and gentlemen, we're at 50. Mikhail, we started this off with $40 with Mikhail. Basil went 41, and Mikhail came right back with a jab of 50. So we're looking for 51 or better. With this, the bidding will keep going until 5 minutes before the top of the hour. We want to max this out because it is way under the money. This is an original piece of art from legendary anchor and Joe Rubinstein. You're not going to get many chances like this, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're going to get on it, now's the time to do it. So we're at 50. We're looking for 51 or better. And as we said, we've got Joe's catalog rotating in the top corner there. If you want to claim any of them, like we said, if you claim any two, we'll give you a third mystery print from Joe Rubinstein for free. There we go. Joe, you were talking about how you spent a long time and a good time at Marvel. What year did you separate from that Marvel contract?
I don't know, but that doesn't mean I separated from Marvel, because all it meant was I was exclusive and could not work on anybody else's projects. But when I stopped being exclusive, it doesn't mean that I left Marvel entirely. I cannot remember the actual chronology, though. But I was working at Marvel, and a very good artist, some of you may know, and if you don't, please look him up. Don Newton was a friend of mine. He did the New Gods, but he also did a lot of Batman stories and Aquaman. And Don made it clear that I was his favorite inker, to the point that when he had a contract at Marvel, he said that in the contract had to say that I was his one and only inker. And are we still here, Stephen?
Yeah, we're still here. We just, every once in a while, Lisa seems to like to rub the mic with her film.
She does.
Sorry.
So Don, to my
Wait, what did I do?
You covered the mic. You
this
covered
button down here. All right, so stop touching that button, and it might go in.
Stop pushing Joe's button.
So,
Are you back?
yeah. So you can hear us, right, Stephen?
I can hear you. We just didn't see you for a second.
Okay. Why didn't you get something better, like I suggested you do? Okay, Stephen, can you hear us?
I can hear you and I can see you.
No,
you look fabulous, darling. Mikhail says he got cut off.
I moved my
It
hand.
was like that scene in Spaceballs where they accidentally turned off the whole movie. I see you. Oh, and they're gone. All right, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Mikhail at 50. Well, Joe figures out his technical difficulties. We've got Mikhail at 50, looking for 51 or better. When he comes back, we'll continue the
Can you hear
story.
me? Can you
There
hear
we
me
go. He's back.
Okay, fine.
Uncle
Okay.
Joe's back.
Okay, all right. So Don, to my surprise, years later, requested that I be the one and only inker he has assigned to his work at Marvel Comics. Well, they said, we won't do that, but we promise that that's what will happen. And then they never did it.
Oh, no.
And then Don was waiting on a script at Marvel and decided if they didn't have one ready. And it kind of spooked them out. So he called up Marvel DC and said, "Do you have anything for me?" And they said, "Yeah, come back." So he went back. So he did a couple of jobs at DC at Marvel, excuse me. Um, One of which became an Avengers annual again for me that I inked half of. So Don unfortunately died at only age like 51, and I was determined because I was his favorite inker that this job was going to get done right. So Jim Shooter, who was the editor in chief at Marvel at the time, gave me a dispensation since he was like the Pope um, to do this one job, and that's how I wound up working at DC for just one issue in the course of 7 years to make sure that Don's work was done right. So,
Lisa, can you do me a favor? Can you just focus a little bit more on the drawing and less on Joe's neck? There we go. Thank you.
It's a lovely neck.
I don't want to be accused of necking with you, Joe. All right, so Uncle Joe.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, look at that beautiful drawing. We're at 50 with Mikhail, looking for 51 or better. So in the good old days, everybody knows that Marvel and DC both had their head offices in New York.
Right.
Now, when you were working there, were you primarily working in the studio, or was there a point there when you started transitioning to working at home?
I cannot work in the studio. I just want to talk and tell stories and have nothing to do with work. So I'm way above past the curve with the pandemic. I've isolated myself for the last 47 years. I do remember. I don't know why, but I think maybe I was in Marvel Studios because it was summer and they had air conditioning. I'm not absolutely sure. So because there were a lot of people who did just that, right? Because New York is oppressively humid during the summer. So I'm in an office on the side, just doing my work. All of a sudden, Stan Lee bursts in, and he's got this I don't know, 2 foot tall, 3 foot tall painting in his arms, and he wants to see this painting, which is the cover for one of the black and white books in better lighting. So he goes into this office, and I, of course, am stunned and poleaxed because it's Stan Lee. I mean, you can't take that casually. And he sits down, he crouches down to look at this drawing, and as he does it, he sticks his elbow right into my ink. And I go, well, that was a short career. I mean, it was fun for what it was, but I was kind of hoping for a little more, And I thought, okay, well, I say something and he fires me because I got ink all over his elbow, or I don't say anything, and later he sees he's got ink all over his elbow and he looks to fire me. So I finally get the nerve up and I say, excuse me, Mr. Lee, but you put your elbow in my ink. And he went, happens all the time. Yeah.
Is it bad that I had his voice actually superimpose your line in my head?
No, that's what I was trying for. So yet another example of Stan was a nice guy. And, the legendary story is that Stan was known to just get up and demonstrate what he wanted the comic book panel to look like and what Spider-Man would move like and all that stuff. So he'd literally get up on the table and the couch and he'd do all this weird shit. And then he'd go back and sit down in his chair and almost invariably broke his glasses because he would take them off and put them down there. So when he would do this, he'd get on the intercom to his secretary and go, bring in another pair. So he must have had dozens of these waiting for him.
He bought his glasses in bulk?
In bulk, yeah.
That's awesome. There you go. See, this is what I love about the Spotlight. You always learn these little things that don't come out generally.
Oh, yeah. I got tons of stories I'd be sued to tell today. But I mean, I have a story about Steve Ditko. There's not a lot of Steve. All right, so I'll tell you one.
All right, before you tell me the Steve Ditko, let me just bring you an update. Basil took it from 50 to 55, and Mikhail jabbed right real quick and jumped it up to 60. So we're at $60 now. Thank you, guys. We're looking for 61 or better. Please grace us with your Steve Ditko story.
Here's the technique. If we master inkers, we pick up a tissue paper and go, dab, dab. All right. But anyway, so Steve, Steve was a weird guy. Okay, he just was strange. It's not to say he was unpleasant or evil. He was just his thinking was not like everybody else's. But he was pleasant enough when you met him, and he kind of looked like your neighborhood pharmacist or pedophile, depending upon which way you wanted to go with that. So I had just done a poster with Ron Friends, like whatever, 4 feet tall poster of Peter Parker and Spider-Man in the middle, full figure, like Peter's in civilian clothing, Spider-Man's in his outfit. Then floating all around him are bad guys, supporting cast, Aunt May, all that sort of stuff. And then I colored it, and of course the colorists, the separators, got it all wrong. But anyway, so I see Steve at the offices. I says, "Hey, Steve, I just did a poster of Spider-Man and Peter Parker." He said, "Okay," and I went, I figured out the secret of how to do Peter Parker. You got to show me on camera for this. And I said, "Steve, I figured out how to do Peter Parker." And he looked at me askance and went, "Yeah." And I said, "You have to draw him like he's constipated, like, oh." And he cracked up. Because I think he knew that it was the truth.
Please tell me you have a copy of that poster somewhere.
I don't own one, but you can find it online. Yeah.
Oh, because would that be worthwhile doing a recreation, maybe a reimagination or a recreation of it for a print?
Sure, why not? Of course. I mean, I could update the characters, and I could make. I mean, instead of Peter Parker and Spidey, maybe the red and blue Spidey and the black Spidey, or whatever. I mean, it could be any variation of that. So,
well, I'll look it up and we'll have a talk about it. What do you guys think? Basil, Mikhail, would you like to see that poster recreated with today's maybe Venom, maybe some more of the updated villains?
Yeah.
Integrated into it? Let us know. But right now we've got Mikhail at 60, looking for 61 or better. And it's coming along. Look at this thing go. Steve Ditko. There you go. The one thing I love about
go ahead. I'm going to blow all my Steve Ditko stories on this one broadcast, but okay. So, all right. I'll say
that sounds dope.
Find me at a comic book convention to ask for the other Steve Ditko story.
There you go.
And also find me at a comic book convention to tell you the story of the cover to Wolverine #1, because there's a story.
There you go. Speaking ironically, as you said that, your Wolverine painting came up on the screen.
Right.
All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like we're putting the finishing touches on Thanos here. And we still have roughly 20 minutes of bidding to go. So we're at 60 with Mikhail. I'm looking for 61 or better. So far.
Okay, well, there it is.
That's it?
You want more?
No, it's up to you. If that's it, that's it.
Well, wait a second. I got to find some white paint. If I could only find some white paint.
We still got a half hour here to kill.
I can do another one.
Well, if you want to do another one, let me know. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to let you know who wants to do a second one. If you want Joe to do a second one, throw up some suggestions. And if we agree to it, we're going to look for a start of 40 on that one. So right now we have 60 on the Thanos, and we may just put that aside and just let everybody bid on it until we get to the end of the hour. But if anybody wants to put up a second one, and Joe is so inclined.
All right, well, there that is.
There's one. One ring. Hey, Basil says if you do Conan, he'll kick it off at 40.
Okay, I'll do Conan.
All right, he's doing. Oh, Cat just showed up. What about Rogue?
Okay, whoever you want, you tell me.
All right, Basil, do you second a Rogue or do you want to stick with Conan? That's a beautiful Thanos, Mikhail says.
Thank you.
So we got Thanos at 60. We got Thanos at 60, and we've got a kickoff. Basil says Conan in at 40. Basil, what do you think? Do you like Rogue at 40? Right now, we got Conan at 40. Cat, we're looking for a kickoff at 40. So we got Conan at 40. Basil, if you want Conan, we'll do a Conan.
Okay. I'll do Conan, and I'll leave time to do a Rogue.
There you go.
Okay.
All right, let's do a Conan. So we're gonna start Conan. We've got a kickoff of $40 with Basil. Thanos is sitting there at 60 with Mikhail. Kat, if there's enough time, let me know if you want to if you want to kick off bidding at oh, there you go. There we go. We got Basil. I'm in Conan LaForty. There you go.
Okay.
So we got Conan at 40. So Joe's got Thanos done. We got it tucked away. That's sitting at $60 with Mikhail. And we got Basil with Conan at 40. So here we go with Le Conan. How often do you get asked to do Conan?
I don't know if ever. Rarely. I'm sure I've done it once or twice, but rarely.
Right.
Even though I did Conan with John Buscema and Gill Kane, it's just not what I'm thought of as having done.
Do you have any Gill Kane stories? I love Gill Kane.
Oh, he's such an asshole.
That's too bad. I remember
Gill Kane towards the end of his life knew how offensive he had been to so many people, and he said, I'm going to reach out to people and try to make amends, except for Carmine.
Really?
Yeah, Carmine wasn't a nice guy either.
Oh wow!
I remember a list of who. Yeah, go ahead.
I remember one of the first times you and I met you. We went to Giordano's for pizza.
Yeah.
And I started throwing out all my heroes, and you just every time I threw out a name, you're like, he's a dick.
Right.
And then you would throw a couple stories just to support how much of a dick they were.
Well, that was the point. I had reasons. On the other hand, I can give you a list of the good people: Archie Goodwin, Al Williamson, Walt Simonson, Louise Simonson, Dick Giordano was wonderful. Joe Kubert was a great guy. It's a lot of people. So some of them are jerks. Some of them are really nice people. Some of the people, like certain jumbo bores I can mention, they just believe their press, because everybody's telling them how wonderful and great they are, that they just act like they're wonderful and great, forgetting that it's just drawing pictures,
And speaking of drawing pictures, we've got sketch number 2 on the go here. This is Conan. We have Basil at 40. We're looking for 41 or better. And then off to the left, we'll bring that back at the end of the show. We have Mikhail with Thanos at 60. So we're looking for 61 or better on the Thanos, which we'll bring back at the end of the show. And we're looking for 41 or better right now on the Conan sketch we're working on right now.
And by the way, I finished up 2 issues of Superman over Gill Kane's layouts, and they were beautiful. And the man was a master. The guy could not do bad art. And I would gladly have worked with him the rest of my life if I just didn't have to talk to him.
Just not to hijack this, but I remember every time there was a period there, every time I go to my LCS, I would just buy a book for the art. And then finally the guy behind the counter says, "Why do you keep picking up these books?" I said, "I just love the art." He goes, "It's the same guy." And I'm like, "Well, who the hell is that?" Gill Kane.
Right. Yeah. Something that Kane did that nobody that I'm aware of, and I'd like to be told I'm wrong, did that nobody does these days, is this beautiful negative space. He would put air around the panels, the people. They didn't look like they were all crowded. And, I just don't know anybody who does that. His figures, remarkably enough, as a superhero artist, were really thin. They were not John Buscema. They were not anybody of any real bulk. But, okay, that's who he drew. So that's why it worked well on Spider-Man or Daredevil. But when he did his Hulk, I can show you panels where he swiped Jack Kirby on Conan. On Hulk, because if you're going to swipe somebody for the Hulk, go to the source.
Right.
So, but he really didn't draw large people. He drew delicate, athletic people for the most part. So.
Right. That's kind of like today where J. Scott Campbell, he'll do pinups all day long, but for some reason the guys just are looking a little too feminine for me. Anyways, oh crap, where was I going with that? Gill Kane. Anyways, sorry, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we're at 40 with Basil on Conan, looking for 41 or better. Kat, if we've got enough time, we'll do a rogue. Just throw down the rogue 40 to kick that off. And Kat, since you're just joining us, we're doing a special offer today with the Joe Spotlight. Claim any two of Joe's art prints platinums, and we will give you a third mystery print of Joe's absolutely free. So that's our offer for today. There you go. Cat's thrown down. Rogue 40. Rogue 40. There you go. So we're gonna continue here with the Conan, and then at the end we'll wrap it up with a Rogue, and then we'll sign off. So you'll have two records, Mr. Rubinstein. Number one, you've already eclipsed Francine. She did 2 sketches, so you've already eclipsed her with 3. And
I'm going to do 3.
You're going to, and you've also eclipsed the mark. So right now with the 60, 40, 40, you're at 140. So you've already got the money number too. Not only do you have the money number, but you have the volume number. There you go.
All right.
Good job.
Yay, team. Yay, Uncle Joe. All right, here we go. So we got 40 with Conan. So we're looking for 41 or better. And we've got 60 on the the Thanos. And we just were talking about Gill, Kane. And you were talking about the good guys. Any other stories come off the top of your head you want to jump into?
About good guys?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's this sort of mini documentary tribute to George Perez online right now. I think it's almost 5 hours, and it's which is not mini, I guess. It's interviewing a great many people, asking them a question, and what's your favorite George Perez art, and then various people would say it, and then they'd intermingle it, and then the next question. And they asked me, so what do I think of George? And I said, George is a great guy. I mean, forget the art, forget everything else. I was at a airport, and we had landed from some convention, and George was there. There was a bunch of old ladies, and they'd lost their bags. And George was there trying to help these women sort out how to get their bags. And he didn't know them. But I thought to myself, what a nice guy. He just has to help, And that's sort of the story about George. You just hear that George is a nice guy. God knows, and John Buscema. John Buscema was a gruff guy. He liked to be gruff. But you could tell that he was a good guy. There are other people who just aren't, They're just difficult people and angry people, and you may admire them. Be careful meeting your heroes, because sometimes, like Gill, Kane, you don't want to know them afterwards. But I met Joe Kubert, and he was as good a guy as he was a great artist, And Archie Goodwin is one of those people nobody has a bad word to say about, just nobody, because he's just so sweet. Dick Giordano had a ton of assistants, many of which went on to be professional comic book artists. And he was, at his memorial service at DC Comics, there were, like 200 people there, just because everybody thought so highly of the man. Some people are good because it just seems right, and some people, there's legendary people in comics like Mort Weisinger, who was the editor of the Superman books. He's just known as one of the worst human beings who ever lived, And the old joke goes, somebody was at a bunch of people at his funeral, and somebody said, "Is there anything else anybody wants to say?" And says, "His brother was worse." I mean,
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're sitting at 40. We had some back and forth going on the Thanos. We got Conan at 40. We're looking for 41 or better. If anybody wants to jump in on this, look how great it is. Way under the money. If you asked for this at a show, you're looking at $1.25 all day long.
And right actually, I don't usually make them this big. They're smaller, but I wanted to make them larger for the camera to really see what's going on.
And they look fantastic, by the way. So we've got Conan at 40 with Basil. I'm looking for 41 or better. Let me know, guys. One of my favorite personal books growing up was a Spider-Man cover where it was the first time he realizes that the black suit is actually alive, and the Fantastic Four puts a bag over his head and sends him home.
Right.
And then the cover was the black suit and the classic red and blue fighting over Peter Parker and I didn't know that you did that cover.
Apparently I must have.
No, you told me you did the cover.
You know, you have to show me these things. I don't really remember, but sure. You know, I did the issue of Spider-Man where he was running through it wearing a Fantastic Four suit with a bag over his head. Yes, that was me.
Yes, it was you. You told me it was you.
Okay, that was me.
But that was that. I don't know why, but that one issue really resonated with me.
My friend who was running a comic book store at the time, I gave him a hint. I said, "Listen, you should buy order extra copies of this book because Spider-Man has a new costume." And I didn't realize that, you know, nobody cares that he was wearing a Fantastic Four outfit on. I thought it would be like something interesting, but like it wasn't any. Like if Spider-Man got a real new costume, like the black costume, everybody paid attention. So I was being too cagey with my friend, and I think they lost money on it or something.
I think just the fact that they basically sent him home with an extra FF costume with a brown bag over his head.
Because we all have an extra FF costume laying around the house.
Absolutely. And as a kid, I think I was in grade 3 or grade 4 when that came out. I don't know why, but that resonated me. I was like, well, if Spider-Man can wear a bag over his head, anybody can.
You know, I feel a little guilty because I do not have an extra Fantastic Four costume here. I have an extra Wonder Woman costume, but I don't want to go into the details.
Yeah, we appreciate that, Uncle Joe.
Okay.
All right, so we've got Conan here at 40. We've been sitting at 40 for a while. If anybody wants to go to 41, we're waiting for you. We've got Conan here at 40. We've got Thanos on the side for 60. He's just wheeling away, jetting in the blacks on the Conan. While you're doing that, I remember a story you told me about at the end.
I talk a lot. Jeez.
You do. You were talking about how you were at a con and you went to the airport and someone hit you up for a commission.
No. I was at the airport and suddenly this guy says to me, "Can I have your autograph?" And I thought, "Oh shit, he thinks I'm Ben Kingsley." And I asked him, I said, "Who do you think I am?" He said, "Joe Rubinstein." I went, "No kidding." So I gave him an autograph. And as I turned to walk to my gate, this other guy went, "Can I have your autograph too?" I went, "You're kidding." Okay. So it's one thing to be a semi-celebrity at a comic book convention, but when you go out to the real world and people recognize you, that's weird.
Well, the one that I liked was when someone hit you up for a commission and you were like, "Oh, I got to get to my flight. Time me." You did it.
Oh no, that was at a convention. Yeah, that was
was
at a
it?
convention. It was at a convention, and they wanted a drawing. And it's like, oh my God, I don't have any time for this. Okay. So I turned to my girlfriend. I said, "Time me," and I did it in 8.5 minutes. It was smaller than this, but I did try to give the guy his money's worth. But yeah, when it's like my friend watched me at a convention once and said, "So aren't you going to draw it first?" And I said, "No, I don't have any time to draw it. I just have to do it." You know? But that's sort of what Byrne told me once. When I say Byrne, of course, I mean the great Scottish poet John Byrne. Anyway, he told me that he had one way to draw, but when he started to do conventions, he realized it took too long, so he had to develop a faster way to do it at conventions, which I then think he adopted for when he drew at home. So
yeah. Well, it's interesting you say that because I had that conversation with James Mulligan, where he was just cranking out the drawings, and I was just like, "Holy crap, man! Like, how do you do it?" And then he showed me some tricks, and he's like, "Hey, man, you don't have time.
You don't.
You don't. You just got to get it done. You just got to get it done." So anyway, speaking of getting it done, it looks like we're at the back nine of Conan here. We're still sitting at 40. We're looking for 41 or better on Conan here. Anybody else interested in this beautiful piece of art? Pardon me. So here's a question I always wanted to ask you. So you spend so many, usually airtime there, Joe.
Okay.
So you stayed in New York for so long. What made you want to get up and move to LA?
I had a girlfriend who wanted to get out of New York, and I didn't want to lose the girlfriend. And since the world, you have to live in New York City in the tri-state area to be in the comic book business for the most part. So that's where I lived. I lived there as a child, so I was very fortunate that I could get into it. But then when the internet and FedEx, you didn't have to. So when she said, I want to move to California, I said, I'll move with you. I'll also be happy to never be cold again as long as I live. And then I wind up going to conventions in Detroit in February. But, so obviously I can be bought. But yeah, that was the whole reason.
Oh, okay. So just girlfriend and weather.
Yeah.
That works for me. And guys, if you have any questions you want to ask Joe, feel free to shoot. If there's anybody you want to pick their brain, either on drawing tips or just shooting the shit, for lack of a better term, Joe's the man to do it.
It's a family show.
Very true. Very true. But we've got.
I'm going to go on to Rogue. So that
all right, we've got 10 minutes left. So there you go, Basil. There's Conan, and there's Thanos on top. We got Conan at 40, and we've got Thanos at 60. And now we're going to crank out a Rogue.
Crank, but yeah, sure. Okay.
We're going to crank out a Rogue, and then we're going to do last call. We got 10 minutes left. Last call for claiming art prints. And like we said, we're going to do claim any two Joe Rubinstein fine art or platinums, and you'll get a third mystery Joe Rubinstein print absolutely free. There you go. I had to put a little swing on that end there.
You sound like Crazy Eddie.
Thank you. So that last tail of the toe. Where was I going there?
I don't know.
Last lap on the. See, there's that Conan. What's going on with that finger in her mouth?
What do you think's going on with that finger? He's hot.
Speaking of a kids show, absolutely. Basil wants to know if you'll sign it.
Oh, of course, they'll be signed as soon as they're sold. Of course.
Sign, he doesn't sign it until they're sold, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
Speaking of sold, so we're starting to put together our secret project of Secret Wars. I have your number 2.
That's
how's number 12 coming?
It's coming. It'll come. I promise. It'll come. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go start on Rogue now.
All right, we're going to start at Rogue. So we got Cat May with a kickoff of 40 on Rogue. So we're looking for 41 or better. And we had a little cameo of Lisa.
Lisa. Yes, I know.
And now we're back on Joe's neck.
Yeah.
Sorry.
As I said earlier.
Questioning my cinematography.
As I said earlier, it's a lovely neck. You could do better. You couldn't do better. You might do better.
Joe's trying to neck in with the audience.
It's true.
Look at that array of brushes, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to see organization, look at that.
And then try to do some organization.
I'm working on it.
You know, if you sharpen the bottoms of those and flip them around, that'd be a great torture rack.
Some of them are.
All right, here we go. Let's do the lowdown again. We got Mikhail in the lead.
Here, I'll tell you 2 stories on that subject.
All right.
Al Williamson went to visit his idol, Hal Foster, everyone's idol, Hal Foster, right? And he saw that all the pencils were lined up exactly right. Everything was clean and neat and wonderful and great. So Al Williamson decided that was how he's going to run his life. And he was going to just be as neat a human being as possible. Then there's an artist named Walter Biggs, who was an illustrator in the 30s. And he was wonderful. His stuff was as good as anybody's ever was. And this photograph of his studio where basically he's sitting on a heap of garbage. And how he could possibly find anything was beyond understanding. But somehow he produced some of the best artwork ever. So I think it's more about I love organization. I love knowing where everything is when I need it. I just need somebody else to put it there.
That's me.
So is your name Lisa Organization or put it there?
Put it there. Put it there. Okay. So anyway.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So here's the rundown. We've got $60 currently on Thanos. We've got $40 on Conan, and we've got $40 on Rogue. We've got 5 minutes left. We're gonna crank it out.
I'll go past if you don't mind. I'll keep working on it till it's done.
All right. Well, we'll hang out until we get Rogue done, and then we'll close it all out. So I got an idea. Why don't we do this? Eric, why don't you just put me in the little? Let's get rid of the catalog there. I think people who have been with us have seen it enough. Why don't we do a big shot and just do a little me in the corner? Just so there you go. Perfect. Let's stay on here, just so we can watch some magic on parchment.
Got your chin. Sorry.
And if we're lucky enough, every once in a while, we'll be able to see Lisa's thumb as it grazes along the microphone. All right.
Lisa's thumb is my neck. So.
There we go. We either get a neck shot or a thumb shot. There you go.
I'm so underappreciated.
The
Rodney Dangerfield of assistants, Lisa.
That's me.
So I learned this. I forget what TV show. You know the term workaholic?
Yes.
It was invented by Rodney Dangerfield in a joke where he said, "My father, when he thought to go to work, instead he took a drink, so he's a workaholic."
That's where it came from?
That's what the article said. Yeah. He
invented
wow. the term.
He's an underrated guy. Like his stand-up still holds up today.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
Yeah. Him and Don Rickles.
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 Oh, Rickles is great.
Yeah, Don Rickles.
And interestingly enough, the modern generation of comedians, while they don't particularly care for the Borscht Belt people, the Corbett Monicas, and the Jack Carters, they all still idolize Don Rickles.
Oh, he was so quick.
Yep.
So quick. Like,
no, yeah, go ahead.
He could make a joke out of anybody in the audience.
Yep.
Right. So, you do enough of that, it's very often the same joke. It's just a new audience. You do have your standards that you fall back on.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're working on Rogue now. We have Kat in the lead with 40 on Rogue. And over off to the left, we've got a Conan, which Basil is in the lead with 40. And then we have Thanos, which Mikhail has in the lead at 60. And as soon as we finish this one, we'll line them all up. We'll line all three up, and we'll do a final countdown. And oobla-dee, oobla-da, life will go on. So here's a question for you, good sir. You're going to Michigan this year.
Am I? Okay.
Astronomicon.
Okay.
Astronomicon.
Yeah.
What the bloody blue blazes did that name come from?
Nobody tells me nothing.
Like, do they just call you up and say, "Hi, this is Astronomicon. Will you come up to our show?"
Yeah, what do I care what a convention's called? I mean, there's like NickelCon. I think it's like in the Buffalo area because of the Buffalo nickel. I don't know. It's like
you're going to Decepticon in Buffalo.
I'm going to Decepticon where they can fool you that there's a convention. They're going to be deceptive, and there will be no one there once you get there.
You'll find out it's in someone's basement.
Right.
If you go down a flight of stairs, we're back on the neck, Mikhail.
Sorry.
Lisa's like, I'm getting carpal tunnel.
My arm hurts.
You should have gotten that stand.
It wouldn't work over your shoulder.
Maybe not.
I can't tell if this is a drawing or a sequel to the Blair Witch.
Right. They did a sequel to the Blair Witch and nobody liked it.
All I see is some white man standing in the corner just shaking back and forth.
Right. When I saw that movie, as I left the theater, there was a group of teenagers and I heard one of them go, "That's it?" What was this about?
I remember I saw that in the theaters and I had to put my head down. I was so nauseous.
Oh, from the rocking back and forth?
Oh yeah, the cinematography. Like, I understand trying to get a feeler and everything, but oh my god, they just took it to the 9th degree, and on a big screen, it's ridiculous.
That's nth degree.
Nth degree. Yes, Lisa, you hit the button again.
You hit the button again.
What do you want from my life?
We want you to avoid hitting the button. One button. Okay. Just don't hit one. Now we're back with the neck.
Yeah, right. There was a movie called Cloverfield. There was a movie called Cloverfield about people videotaping an alien invasion in New York City. I don't know if you ever saw it or not, but it was very good. It was done by J.J. Abrams.
Yep. Yeah, that one, like that's probably they took the concept and then they put enough polish on it so people wouldn't throw up in the middle of the movie theater. So, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we got Rogue here. The starting bid is at $40 with Cat, looking for 41 or better. Off to the side earlier, we knocked out a Thanos, which is sitting at $60 with Mikhail, and then we've got a Conan that's sitting on $40 with Basil. So Joe has been rocking it out today. So he's agreed to do a little overtime. Usually we cut it off at about 6 o'clock, but Joe's been so gracious with his time, and you guys have been sticking around while we've been chit-chatting. We're going to go into a little bit of overtime just so we can get a little bit more of Rogue carved out here.
I'm so glad those other guys aren't here to pull the energy down. So.
Mikhail says, you're killing it.
Thank you. I hope you like it.
Try the veal.
What did the veal ever do to you?
Well, I don't know. What did we ever do to the veal?
We put them in a place where they can't stand up their whole lives.
Yeah, and then we eat them.
Right. But that's the payoff, like a shmoo from Little Abner. Right.
A shmoo. What was the thing? So yesterday I was having a conversation with Lisa, and apparently I spelled oy vey wrong, and it was like I shot the sheriff.
It's too bad there are no Jews in Canada to correct you on these things.
Yeah. Well, what can we say? Yeah. Oy vey. So, and then she started throwing a bunch of Jewish terminology at me, and I was like, "Bless you,
bless you, Father,
bless you, Father, for I have no idea what you speak of." Okay.
Well, if you're going to be in show business, you know what I'm saying here. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So let's talk about we were going down the lane in terms of we got to the point where you went from New York to LA. So did you continue doing work with Marvel and DC while you're out in LA, or is that when it kind of got severed?
Well, it was earlier. 1999 was the implosion at DC and Marvel. The industry really fell on hard times, and I couldn't find work anywhere. And I would call up people and say, "Hey, I'm looking for a job," and they'd be amazed. They go, "You're looking for work?" I says, "Yeah, you got it?" He says, "No, but I can't believe you're looking for it." and it was hard times there for quite a while, like 2 years. And I think I was, and I'm sure they're not fully aware of it, I think I'm supposed to be like the 8th or 10th most prolific inker of all time. But I have been more or less unemployed for the last 21 years. And if I hadn't been, I'd be the most prolific inker of all time. Luckily for me, conventions, commissions. I'm also a portrait painter, so I do artwork outside of comic books if you ever want to check that stuff out. But no, and when when DC moved to Burbank, which I happen to live near, they hired all those people who they usually don't hire to give them a buffer. And so I wound up doing like 4 comic books in that period of time, like World's Finest and a Batman Robin comic book and all that stuff. And then when that was over, never again, so it's like, and somebody said to me, now that DC's moving to Burbank, you should get a lot more work, right? And I said, there's this thing called the internet, right? I mean, you don't really need to live near them to do the work. And because in the old days with Marvel, when I would be in the offices delivering work, I mean, that's how you did it. You delivered the work. And then you'd be there and they'd say, "Hey, we have this issue of the X-Men that's late. Can you take 3 pages?" And I would say, "Yeah, well, now that I'm here, it's only 3 pages. Or can you take, like, once I had to take, like, X-Men 10 pages over Thanksgiving weekend or something." And that was a lot of work. So there's a bunch of comic books out there that my name is not on that I actually worked on, just because I was in proximity. Nowadays, you don't need that. They just send you an email across half the world and you do the work, and then you send it back in. And as a matter of fact, when I was doing that, the DC project for DC, it's called Integration or something like that. The one where all the books connected up while DC was moving. They literally wanted a page for me every 2 hours. It's like, all right, can you get us one by 7? Okay, can you get us one by 9? Can you get us one by midnight? Because they were just trying to get it to colorists, and that's a lot of stress. I mean, in the old days, you got a book, you came back in 3 weeks, and it was finished. This was like hourly deadlines, so that was rough.
Wow.
That was me using an electric eraser to take off a little smudge to make.
I thought you were changing a tire.
Or something to do with the sex act. I know.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we're in overtime, but we got to start wrapping it up. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a countdown on Thanos. So you keep going, Joe. We're going to wrap up the Thanos here for Gail.
Right.
So do me a favor, Lisa. Can you swing over and show the two that are complete? And Joe, you just keep plowing along there. We're going to wrap this up. I can hear my children asking, when's Daddy coming home to feed us? So
right. And of course, we'll get this done offline.
Off camera. There we go. So we got Thanos. Eric, throw up the 1 minute timer. We've got Mikhail at 60 at this one. We're going to do the timer.
Trying to get this framed and I can't. Okay, fine. I can't see it.
Let's see. Let's get that timer up there. We're going to do the 1 minute timer. If nobody goes 61 or better within here's how it works, guys. Wow, picture in picture. If this goes to 0 and nobody timer. Okay, there we go. All right, there we go. So this is how it works, guys. If nobody bids with it while this clock is going. Mikhail takes it for $60. If we do get a bid, we reset the clock. There is no sniping. So we reset the clock every time there's a bid within the minute. And if not, then congratulations to Mikhail. So we're at 40 seconds. And while we're doing that, Joe's going to keep rolling along on Rogue, which Kat is in the lead on at $40. So we got 30 seconds left. $60 to Mikhail, the Thanos with his sparkling helmet, looking for 61 or better. We got 20 seconds left. Oh, how time quickly goes. It is, isn't it, Kat? If you like it, Kat, throw up 61. Throw up 61. You got 15 seconds left. We're looking for 61 or better. Right now we got Mikhail at 60. We're looking for 61 or better on the Thanos. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And congratulations, Mikhail. You are the winner of Thanos. I appreciate all of it. That's going off the Thanos Rubado. And now we're going to throw up Conan. Here we go. Throw up the 1 minute clock. We have $40 on Conan, and Basil is in the lead. Kat says Thanos is fire. Yes, congrats to Mikhail on the Thanos. And now we've got Conan at $40, looking for 41 or better. We're at 45 seconds left. Mikhail says, thank you very much, Joe. You're the man.
All right.
No, this time you be the man.
Yes, Joe will sign it. And Joe will sign all these pieces.
Yes.
And he ships them out. But we got 25 seconds left. We're looking for 41 or better on the Conan, who looks absolutely nothing like Arnold.
No.
So we're looking for 41 or better, or this fine piece is going to be going home to Basil. And yes, Basil, Joe will sign it. 9, 8, looking for 41 or better. 5 seconds left. Last call for Conan Hall. 2, 1, and congratulations. Mikhail. Yes. Mikhail, please DM me your PayPal, email, and shipping information to me or Lovejeet. Basil says, Louis. Si, senor. You have one. Now I'm mixing French and Spanish. All right, now we're back on Rogue. We're going to throw up the 1 minute timer. We got Kat May at $50. So we're looking for 41 or better on the Rogue here. We promise, Kat, that Joe will finish it off camera.
Right.
She's looking pretty good. Look at that wide-eyed Southern Belle.
She's just happy about being not able to touch anyone without killing them.
You can almost just picture go, sugar, I wanted some cream. All right, so 30 seconds left. We're looking for 41 or better on the Rogue. Or it's going to go to Kat May. She's excited about it. I'm excited about it. We're just going to wrap this up. 20 seconds left. We're looking for 41 or better. Right now, Kat May's in the lead on this beautiful Rogue by Joe Rubinstein. And for the last hour and 10 minutes, we've been regaled with Joe's greatest hits in the industry. 2, 1. Congratulations, Kat May. You're the winner of Rogue for $40. Thank you very much for your time.
A bargain.
Absolutely. All three of these are a bargain. Ladies and gentlemen, you basically just got a bust commission that is at any con $125 for the way under the line, under the money price. And congratulations for you for that. And thank you for joining us. And Mr. Rubinstein, thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the last hour.
Sure.
Joe.
Sorry. Oh, hi.
We're wrapping it up, sir.
Okay, good. I will go back on these and make them even better now that I'm not being watched before you get them.
All right. We want to thank you. We more importantly want to thank Lisa's fingers for holding the camera and rubbing the microphone and giving us nothing but the best framing of your neck. So, ladies and gentlemen, next week there will be no shows because Joe and other MB artists will be in Toronto at the Comic-Con. Hopefully you'll join us, but we will be back the week after from 1 to 2 p.m. doing the art claim sale. 3:30 to 5 we'll be doing the artist roundtable, and then 5 to 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time we will do the spotlight, and the spotlight will be with Mr. Chad Harden of
I'll watch that one. He draws good.
He draws swell.
Yeah.
Just well. Harley Quinn artist Chad Harden will be joining us. So on behalf of Joe Rubinstein, myself, and Lisa's finger, thank you all for tuning with us for the last hour.
Lisa,
and
thank you for giving us the finger.